Gacha gaming, the video game genre being famous on degeneracy, disparity, gooner, and tribalism. The people from each community hating each other just like how most Asian American people hate their ancestors. But as a pure Chinese speaking player, who is living under the culture who has praised civil war and being toxic on the internet in most of history, I think it's a good idea to throw my hat in a ring and make some content of my own. So today, we're diving into a massive comparison of 4 hottest gacha games right now: Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Zone Zero, and of course Honkai Star Rail. So here's the plan. I'm breaking this down into several categories, like story, gameplay, visuals, you name it. For each category, the winner gets 4 points, the follow-up getting 3 to 1 point based on my opinion, or even a big fat 0 if it really drops the ball. If there's a tie, both games get the same point. No drama. I'm gonna do my best to keep things fair and unbiased. Yeah, I hope so. And I hope this video gives you some clarity and maybe a few laughs along the way. So buckle up, let's embrace the tribalism and jump right into the ultimate gacha showdown. The first category we gotta talk about is the story. Heads up, this might have a tiny spoiler, so be careful. Story is a super subjective topic, but based on my experience, I think Wuthering Waves has one of the best story out of all these games. At launch, the storytelling was pretty bad, like really poor. But after version 1.0, man, each update story is absolute cinema. The visuals are better than any other game on this list. The cinematography, the colors, the cutscenes they have made just make me feel like I'm not actually playing a gacha game, but watching a Hollywood movie. Genshin Impact also had a decent story based on its lore and character development. In my opinion, Genshin has the biggest scope and the best world building of all these gacha games. These elements make the story in Tibet feel so immersive and intriguing. But the storytelling is kinda the problem. The pace is a bit too slow sometimes. And then there's a Netland, which has some of the worst storytelling I've ever seen in a video game. But overall, I think Genshin still has a solid storyline and a world building. It definitely deserves your time, especially for a Fontaine chapter, which is absolute cinema. Now we got Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail. I think both these games have some issues with their stories. For ZZZ, I gotta say it has the most interesting way to tell the story out of these games. They use stuff like comic strips and quote dialogue, and the quality is pretty stable. But yeah, it is too stable. They barely have epic moments like Wuthering Wave or Genshin that really hook you in. And the yapping session in this game, way over the top. Sometimes I like, dude, am I playing a visual novel or a video game? Also, some dialogue doesn't have a voice acting, which makes it painful to read whenever the story is not at the interesting part. As for Honkai Star Rail, well, their storytelling just feels so convoluted. We had a decent and simple storyline in version 1.0, but after 2.0, the way they tell story got way too complicated. The story itself is amazing, but I can't even tell you what it is exactly about after completed until I watch a lore video on YouTube. Plus, a lot of things stay unexplained even after the story ends. And things got even worse after 3.0 and 4 years. Not only is the storytelling is bad, but the story itself is boring as fuck. On top of that, we got 8-hour-long story quests every single patch, and it couldn't be skipped until the recent update. At this point, I feel like I'm not actually playing a video game, but being tortured in some infernal hell. So for this category, I'm giving Wuthering Waves 4 points for the bad storyline and visual effect. Genshin Impact scored 3 for its amazing world building and development. Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail tied with 2 points, each for their issues, but they are still decent in their own way.
Mocktails exercise, the snacks are real nice. Soda's so much dry, I'm lit, you can't deny.
The combat system is definitely one of the most important category when we are talking about this gacha game. Like, even the love and debate is all about combat. Even all these games have totally different playstyle, especially for Honkai Star Rail as a turn-based game. But I think we can still compare them to figure out which one gives you the best gaming experience. First off, the combat in Wuthering Wave is absolutely amazing. As an action RPG, Wuthering Wave's combat feels like straight up action combo heaven. The dodge, the movement, the parry system, they work so great. But the best part is the sense of strike in this game. It feels so satisfying and rewarding, even compared to some AAA action combat games. Every hit just lands with this awesome impact that keeps you hooked. But beside Wuthering Waves, Zone Zero also get me hyped, sometimes even more than Wuthering Waves. In Wuthering Waves, most of the popular team rotation feels kinda static and repetitive, but in ZZZ, it feels way more flexible. You gotta plan your resources and rotation based on different situations. They've got unique mechanics like quick assist and daze, and the sense of strike feels phenomenal too. Now, Honkai Star Rail is definitely the best turn-based gacha game in the industry. The combat feels rewarding and innovative. And the character animation, next level dude. I don't have too many comments on Honkai Star Rail since I'm not super familiar with the turn-based games. It is actually my first one. But yeah, I think it's great. The way it pulled off turn-based combat just feels so smooth and exciting. As for Genshin Impact, well, its combat system was super innovative back in the day with all the elemental reactions. 5 years ago, it felt fresh and interesting. But now, it is kinda outdated. As an action combat game, you basically only have 2 skills to press for each character. And after that, you're just playing a color matching game with 4 characters. The overall gameplay doesn't feel fun enough but more sweaty than anything. And based on my experience, most characters in this game doesn't even use their basic attacks. So I'm like, what were they even designed for? So for this category, I'm giving both Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero 4 points for their awesome action combat design. Honkai Star scored 3 for delivering a satisfied turn-based gacha game experience, like Genshin Impact got 2 points for its innovative but outdated combat system. Next, let's discuss the core gameplay and content of this game beyond combat. Wuthering Waves offers the most diverse content among them. It features a massive, beautifully designed open world ripe for exploration, varied combat challenges, and an impressive Souls-like mode called Hologram, which I consider one of the best game modes in gacha gaming. The exploration feels smooth and dynamic, and after 2.0 update, players can fly from the start of the expansion. A feature even World of Warcraft, the largest open world MMO, didn't even introduce until its 10.0 update. However, Wuthering Waves exploration can feel repetitive and bland, as it often boils down to collecting items to fill an exploration bar to 100%. It usually feels like resembling text lists more than true discovery. This is the thing I really don't like about open world gacha games, and Wuthering Waves is not exceptional. But after all, it still do much better than Genshin. After playing Wuthering Waves, returning to Genshin Impact feels like a downgrade. Genshin also has a stunning open world in Tibet, but its gameplay feels clunky in 2025. The stamina system is a major culprit, limiting sprinting, climbing, and other actions. Like in Wuthering Waves, the stamina is only consumed for sprinting during combat. Genshin's open world exploration is also less rewarding, often filled with nonsensical riddles offering minimal rewards or 8-hour-long unskippable world quests without voice acting just to unlock certain areas. Despite this, Genshin's world design remains breathtaking, and with more quality of life updates and additional map activities, it could improve. Its core playstyle, however, feels outdated. As for Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail, both suffer from limited content outside combat. ZZZ fares better as the in-game content and material farming require manual play, which make the game feel more engaging. The removal of TV modes also reduces tedious puzzle content. In contrast, HSR auto combat features simplify material farming but make the game feel less interactive, as if I'm not actually gaming. And the story quest in HSR has a lot of mini puzzles during the process. Not gonna lie, these are frustrating and often make me want to quit. While HSR also had a roguelike mode like ZZZ, but it loses appeal after claiming weekly rewards, and is not manual. So in summary, Wuthering Waves earned 3 points for its dynamic and varied content. ZZZ scored 2 points for its engaging gameplay but lack of content outside the combat. Genshin Impact got 2 points due to its outdated content design, and HSR scored 1 point for its lack of engaging manual gameplay and content. Next, let's slide into the character design, which is super subjective, but like one of the most important part when we are talking about gacha games. First off, I think Honkai Star Rail absolutely dominates this category. In general, it's got the best character visual design out of all these games. On top of that, the character development is just so great. Characters like Adventuring and Firefly, people don't just love their looks, their lore hits hard too. It's the kind of stuff that makes you care about them beyond just pulling for them. Wuthering Waves also has some really intriguing character design, both in visual and development. Right now, Carlotta is basically my favorite fictional character ever. Forget her hate. She's awesome! On the other hand, we got characters like Chan Li, Shorekeeper, and of course our girl Carthea, with super impressive visual design and lore development. To me, Wuthering Waves is another perfect example of amazing character design. Oh, and let's not forget, they've got the best character models in any of this game. As for Genshin Impact, back in the day, it had the best character development, their story and visual used to feel so good, but nowadays, they're just kind of bland. The visuals aren't as crazy as Wuthering Waves or Honkai Star Rail, and the Netherlands character's development just feels so weird and not quite right. But Rika might be one of the worst characters Hoyoverse has ever released based on the story and development. But before Netherlands, Genshin did have some really impressive character designs, especially in Fontaine and Liyue. Those characters' visuals and stories still feel like something special. Now, Zenless Zone Zero, this might be a bit harsh, but as a veteran ZZZ player who really loved this game, I gotta say it has the worst character designs out of all these gacha games. Like before I play it, not a single ZZZ character looked appealing enough to make me rush to play the game. Until they dropped Evelyn, who is basically the Gunnar-bait. Like I'm keeping it real guys, if you took Miyabi, one of the most popular units in ZZZ, and put her in the Wuthering Waves, people would think she's the 4-star. ZZZ characters have solid models and decent development, but their design just look kinda boring at first glance. I generally think this is why ZZZ isn't as popular as Genshin or Honkai Star Rail. The visuals just aren't good enough to hook more people into the game. So in conclusion, I'm giving both Wuthering Waves and Honkai Star Rail 4 points for their awesome visuals and development. Genshin Impact scored 3 for its weaker models and recent character issues. Zenless Zone Zero got 2 for its intriguing development and model but super bland visual designs. Grinding gotta be one of the most important aspects of gacha gaming. In fact, how long you're gonna stuck building a single character and how efficient your daily routine is. At this point, I think both Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero are doing an impressively great job. These two games really get how to respect player times, not just with daily efficiency but also the character building. In Wuthering Waves and ZZZ, dailies takes like 2 minutes to wrap up. The material needed to build a character in both these two games are super reasonable too. Whenever a new character drops, most people can build her in a single day. That's how generous the character progression system in these games. But one thing I do want to complain about Wuthering Waves is that the new echo farming system that added in the recent patches. So echo is basically the artifact or gear in Wuthering Waves which is really important for the endgame character building. And I believe this new echo farming system that added into the game recently is called Nightmare Nest. But you only can farm this one per day, which is really annoying when a new character just dropped and you need a specific set drop from the nest for them. I feel like Crew actually has tried to adding more tactics to extend players' playtime in recent patches, and it really started to decrease my enthusiasm to the game, so I just hope this is only for temporary. But then, we got Genshin Impact. Boy oh boy, it's a whole different story. I can't believe Hoyoverse hasn't fixed this stuff even in 2025. The material requirements for a single character are insane. If you build one character in Genshin, I swear you could build 2 or even more in Wuthering Waves with the same effort. On top of that, you got daily locked talent materials and that infinite artifact system that keeps throwing you defensive and HP stat. Bro, it couldn't get worse. As for Honkai Star Rail, some people might think, hey, it's got an auto battle and the material requirements are kinda reasonable, right? But when it comes to the artifact grind, Honkai Star Rail might be the worst. In Genshin, we have got 2 extra substat, Energy Recharge and Elemental Mastery. In ZZZ, you got Flatpin and Anomaly Proficiency. But in freaking Honkai Star Rail guys, there are 4 extra substat, Effect Hit Rate, Break Effect, Effect Rash, and Speed. And there's no offset gear in this game, which is super annoying when you are aiming for endgame build. I spent almost 2,400 stamina on my Herda and she still looks like shit. So for this category, Zenless Zone Zero got perfect score 4 points for their reasonable material requirements and time efficient grinding. Wuthering Waves got 3 for pretty much the same reason as ZZZ, but the gimmick they added in the recent patches just made me think it is slightly worse than ZZZ. Honkai Star Rail scored 2 for that annoying artifact grind. Genshin Impact got 1 point for having the worst, most tedious character progression system I've ever seen in gacha gaming. The banner system is basically why people go crazy for gacha games, so let's talk about how each game handles it, plus their monetization. First up, Wuthering Waves objectively has the best gacha system out of all these games. The PD for both character and weapon banner is 80 pulls, and here's the kicker, you don't even lose the 50-50 on the weapon banner. That is fantastic. As for extra monetization, this got skins, wins, and few bundles, the battle pass and the monthly pass. None of those stuff affect your in-game power too much outside of gacha, which is super fair. Then let's look at Genshin Impact. The PD system takes 90 pulls for character banner, and it is not even guaranteed. You can lose the 50-50. The weapon banner is even worse. With 2 limited weapons in the same pool, it's a 75-25 chance. But even if you win a 75-25, you might still get a weapon you don't want. That's just depressing, man. Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero share the same gacha system. The character banner takes 90 pulls to hit pity, and you can lose the 50-50. The weapon banner takes 80 pulls, and you might lose the 75-25. But unlike Genshin, the weapon banners are split, so it means you won't have two limited weapons in the same pool. If you win the 75-25, you are guaranteed the weapon you are aiming for, which is a big plus. For monetization, both these Hoyo games sell skins, some bundles, the battle pass, and monthly pass, just like Genshin. But there's one game that stands out in a bad way: Honkai Star Rail. On top of the usual skins, battle pass, and bundles, they sell something called Herda Contract Strategy Collaborations. This bundle gives you upgrade materials and an artifact selector. That is really bad and predatory in my opinion. From the grinding category, we know Honkai Star Rail has the most tedious artifact grind because of all those extra substats. But adding the extra pay-to-win element like this, that's a terrible form of monetization. It is just not cool. So at the end of this category, Wuthering Waves wins with 4 points. For the best gacha system, Zenless Zone Zero win 3 points, Honkai Star Rail win 2 points because of that shady Herda contract, and Genshin Impact got 1 point. Honestly, this is why I don't want to spend on Genshin Impact. The chance of winning are way too low. Honestly, I really think if they made it more accessible, players will probably be way more willing to spend on the game. Next, let's dive into the most critical topic that most players care about in gacha gaming: endgame and power creep. These two are super related, so I'm throwing them into the same bucket. Let's start with Wuthering Waves. Its endgame had 3 different modes: Tower of Adversity, Whimpering Waste, and Hologram. The Tower of Adversity focuses on single target boss fights, where you can nail your rotations while dodging or parrying attacks. Whimpering Waves is all about AoE damage, pushing you to clear waves of enemies as fast as possible for a higher score. And Hologram, it is basically the Dark Souls in Wuthering Waves. Each mode is challenging and unique. As for power creep, Wuthering Waves handled it better than anyone. Almost every limited character is still strong today. Even the standard banned units like Verena and an Encore are still top tier support and DPS. But we recently having more balancing issues come from the Kuro games, is that they have starting to put more pay-to-win elements into the game, such as HP inflation in the Whimpering Waves, or the character that need to run with specific team. These changes just affect my positivity toward UA so much. I just really hope Kuro will make it even mess up in the future update. Now Genshin Impact, that's a different story. It is hand down the worst in this category. As of this video, there are 3 different endgame modes, but even with the new names and roles, they feel the same. Imaginarium Theater play like another Spiral Abyss, but it forces you to use the certain characters that you had probably never played them in your life. The Stygian Onslaught is the endgame mode they released in the recent patch, and this one is even worse, because unless you are 6-6 well, there is basically no chance for you to clear this mode. And after that, you're just playing a color matching game with bosses, no dodging, no parrying, and the restrictions. I came back to Genshin for this video and tried Spiral Abyss, and it is wild. Some bosses, like Lava Dragon Statue, require specific elements like Pyro to break their shields, or you are dealing 0 damage. On top of that, if you dealing Hydro damage during that phase, it buffs the shields. Who thought this was a good idea? On the bright side, there are strong free Pyro units to help clear it, but it is still super restrictive. And furthermore, they even added more pay-to-win elements into their game in the 6.0 update, such as 100 level cap system and so on. This thing just really made me disappointed about the current situation of Genshin Impact. Zenless Zone Zero gives me a similar vibe but better. It has 2 endgame modes, both focus on boss encounters. One needs 2 teams, the other needs 3 to get 4 stars. I would like to say ZZZ boss fights are the best in any gacha game I've ever played. Besides doing your rotations right, you're gonna parries, stun enemy, and handle boss mechanics. It is more interactive than Wuthering Waves endgame. But there are downsides. Some boss mechanics are not mobile player friendly. They are way too complex for fun. Also, putting immunity phases in the time limited mode is really a bad idea. Sometimes you are just sitting there for 10 seconds and you can do nothing. As for power creep, ZZZ does a pretty great job. It is not as good as Wuthering Waves, but most characters are still playable and strong. If someone is underpowered, they will just buff them. And the HP inflation isn't as bad as other Hoyo game. There are some outliers that power creep other limited units, but overall, I got a positive impression of ZZZ in this category. I just really hope they don't mess it up soon. Honkai Star Rail also had a similar issues as Genshin Impact. Sure, it has 3 endgame modes with different combat styles, and they are still fun to play. But power creep is a problem Honkai Star Rail can't escape, and it is killing the game. A couple months ago, as a casual player without signature icons, I could clear all endgame content easily. Now, I can even force a memory of Chaos Stage 11. It is insane. The game designed to punish players who don't pull the newest unit, unless you're the well with 660 hypercards and their signature icons. It is nearly impossible to clear endgame. The pay-to-win design and phasing out older units make this game feel so predatory and unplayable, giving me really bad impression of any other gacha games. So in the end, I'm giving Wuthering Waves 3 points for its varied endgame content and well-balanced unit, but a bit predatory tactics in the recent patches. Xenoblade Zero got 3 points for its engaging endgame combat, but kind of a bit HP inflation issues and tedious boss mechanics. Genshin Impact scored 1 point for its outdated and restricted endgame design, plus the well-made endgame mode they just recently added into the game. Oh wait, do I forget about those endgame weapon skin rework that will expire after the cycle? Okay, 0 point for Genshin, and Honkai Star Rail got 1 point for its unbalanced unit and free-to-play unfriendly endgame mode. At last, let's talk about the MC, a subjective topic but feels super objective. Wuthering Waves without a doubt earning the 4 point at this part again, hottest MC for both the male and female in the gacha game history. ZZ also getting the 4 point, the sibling development just made the gacha MC design hit to the next level. HSR in my opinion getting 3 points, although they both look great but they are kind of soulless, and Genshin Impact got 1 point. Well, what else I could say? How can you even design an MC that is worse than Genshin? So, the winner of this gacha showdown, Wuthering Waves take the crown for 2025, no contest. It's got a perfect mix of cinematic story, slick combat, diverse gameplay, fair gacha, manageable grind, and an MC that is pure fire. Xenoblade Zero is solely runner-up, especially if you are into a dynamic combat and fun events. Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact have their strength, but they gotta fix their predatory and outdated system to keep up. So that is for the ultimate gacha showdown, guys. If you like the videos, please smash that subscribe button and leave the comments below. My name is Yas, and I will see you guys in the next one.